Howdy guys, welcome back. So in this video, what I want to do is show you guys how to make this reusable. Now if you've watched a lot of my other videos, you might know how to do this already, but I'm doing it for the people who don't know. It also just kind of really completes the course. So one of the great things about Houdini is that we can go and we can actually bundle up a bunch of nodes. Just like we saw with the Rand bevel edge, we turned it into a subnet and just reused it over and over again. Well, we can take it one step further. With Houdini, we can turn those subnets into a digital asset. And this allows us to basically build this same type of rope structure with any type of curve, right? So we don't constantly have to lay out these nodes over and over and over again, which would just be laborious and wouldn't be fun at all. So I'm going to turn this into a subnet. All right, cool. And what I can do now is instead of it just leaving it as a subnet, I can go and right click on it and say create digital asset. And what will happen is this little window pops up and it's asking me to give it a name. So I'm going to call this indie pixel rope. We'll call it basic rope. All right. And the label will just be basic rope. I don't want the indie pixel in front of it. And then I want to save this into my OTL. So this is my documents folder here. Okay. And I'm saving it into the default OTLs folder for Houdini so that whenever I open up Houdini, I always have it available to me. So there's a lot of things you can do in terms of saving out your libraries of these types of OTLs or HDAs, as you see here. Okay. And what I want to do is just save this as an HDA. Okay. If you have Houdini core. If you have Indie version, then it'll add that LC to it. Okay, so I'm going to hit accept. Perfect. And once you've done that, the edit operator type properties window will open up. And what this is for is to basically embed a bunch of information into that particular tools. Now, we're not going to get too deep into all this stuff. I'm just going to show you guys some of the basics because I want to expose some parameters, right? Because we want to change the rope size, we want to change the twisting, we want to change the amount of threads we have in the rope, stuff like that, so that this is a little bit more flexible. So to do that, I'm going to jump back inside here, and I want to grab, let's first actually name these. So this is going to be called the rope structure circle, and this will be the rope thread circle. And I'm just doing this so I can keep my own sanity. I don't go crazy trying to decipher my own graphs that I build. And this will be the low res circle. Okay, perfect. All right, so a couple things that we want. So we have control over the resolution, so I'm going to actually leave this one alone, but I'm going to allow the user to edit this one. So I'm going to pull this guy out. All right, so then I want to pull out the rope structure circle. So for this one, I want the scale. So I also want to come in here and create a little bit of organization here. So for now, all I'm going to do is just use the separator. Okay, just so they're all separated from each other. All right, and what I want to do is drag out that uniform scale and the amount of points that I want, because this is the structure of the rope. This allows me to define how many threads I have in the rope. And then again, I want to drag out another separator over here, and then I want control over the size of the actual rope thread. So those are the biggies here. We can go and we can let them do more subdivisions, but I think really for now that is pretty good. All the rest of this stuff is basically just fully procedural. So it doesn't need much more input from the user. So I'm going to hit apply and accept. And with that, we now have this basic rope node. And if I were to hit tab over here in the geometry view, sorry, I had a little bit of a brain fart there, and I go to digital assets, you can see I have this basic rope. And I could throw down this basic rope right here. And now I can just feed in another curve and it'll take care of it. So what I want to do is take care of a few things. So I'm going to right click on this open up that type properties again. I'm going to go to Tools, then Context, and I'm going to say indie-pixel / basic rope, like so. Hit apply. So now when I hit tab over here, it's now in the indie-pixel basic rope. Oh, and I don't need to do that. I should just, there we go. So again, it's inside of indie-pixel, so basic rope. And I have a couple over here. All right, so basic rope. The next thing that I wanted to do, let's see here. Oh, I wanted to name the inputs. All right, so if we come to basic, you can see how we have this minimum, maximum output inputs and outputs. Well, we need the output because that'll be the output that we get. And then we have this minimum inputs and maximum inputs. This allows us to define how many inputs. So if I said maximum of 2 inputs, hit apply, I have another little dot right there. In this case, this particular digital asset doesn't need that. So what I do want to do though is give this a name, right? So in order to do that, let me hit accept here. I'm going to come in here and up here, I believe it was up there. I think it is actually in, yeah, input output. There it is. So input one label, this is going to be user curve. Apply and accept. So now when I hover over this, you can see down at the bottom there, it tells us that it wants to be a user curve for the input. So it just helps other people who are using your tools. All right, so let's go and test this out. So what I want to do is draw another curve here. All right, so let's just do this in the top view. I'm going to hit enter so I can draw the curve. And then let's create a new basic rope tool. And there you go. We now have another rope that we can use, and we can go and edit this particular rope as well. Over and over. There we go. That's what I wanted. So this, you can start to see, hopefully, how much faster this can speed you up. So if you are working on a game that has lots of rope, maybe it's like a Western or something like that, you definitely want to have this rope tool because you're going to be making lots of rope. All right, so that's working out great for us. And we don't have to lay out all those nodes anymore. So now let's go and make some more room here and create all the rope that we need for this particular model that we're making. So I'm going to merge together this rope and this guy. And what I'm going to do is actually drop a transform. Oop, not a trail. I'll do a transform. And I'll just move the curve into place here. So we can come up here, and I'm actually going to center the pivot. So I actually have a preset, so center pivot. And if I were to hit enter here, I can go and move my rope to where I want it to now. Something like that. And we're going to have to go and adjust the curve a little bit more, which we can do much faster now. So I'm going to enter on this guy. So let's go and edit this so that we aren't interpenetrating the geometry, and move it out, something like that. Very cool. And then maybe we'll just kind of shove those guys in there at the ends. Just going to do that. And we'll do that. There we go. That'll work for us. All right, so let's make the other rope now. What I can do is just, I'm just going to copy all this. And we can actually make a merge node just for the rope here. And then feed that into this merge node by dragging that guy. And then putting that into the final deal. There we go. So now I just want this guy to be over here. Like so, and then we just need to adjust the actual curve for this one. Maybe this one is, kind of slightly down more, just to give it some variation. You can also use an edit node for this, right? So by that, if you are editing this particular, or you want to edit this particular curve, you could just select the curve, hit S on the keyboard, and then just select the points, and that's how you can go and just drag these guys around even further. It inserts an edit node for you. Hold on one second. There we go. So that way you can go and do all that. And so now if I hit escape, turn on the final node here, and use the edit node, I don't have to do it point by point, which can give you carpal tunnel syndrome as you start to get older. And if the axis is aligned all weird like that, just right click and say align handle to the world. You can also cycle through them using M. There we go. Cool. All right, now we have a rope, and our ammo crate is coming along quite nicely. All right, so we'll probably end up adding a couple more things to our rope tool that we just made in this video, because I want to be able to access the low-res version of the model. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, let's just go do it. So I'm going to go into this original one right here, and I'm going to drop down a switch node, and I swear that'll be the final thing for this video. So after the switch node, what I need to do is just drag out this input, because now I want to be able to select, do I get the high res or the low res? Which one do I want? Right? So to do that, what I want to do is go to the type properties, go back to my parameters here, jump back into the node, and then just drag this input. And I'm going to keep this at the top. Hit apply and accept. And now you'll notice that if you go to this other, so in this current basic rope that we just edited, we have this select input. And I go to this one and it updated as well. So now what I can do is just say save node type for this guy. And say match current definition, and then match current definition. Now they're locked. So now when you jump inside, people can't go and mess with it. Unless you go and just right click and say allow editing of contents, but you don't tell people that. Anyways, that is how we go and create our different inputs. So now what I can do is just get a low res version of my rope if I need it. I'll leave it on the high for now while we're still modeling all this. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go and make some nails, and then I think we're going to do UVs and then create some vertex colors for all the IDs so we can texture this guy inside of Substance Painter. All right, thanks so much.